All right, let's dive into a service that is absolutely essential for any solutions architect to know inside and out: AWS Security Hub. If you're trying to get a handle on your cloud security posture, especially at scale, you've come to the right place. So let me just ask you this. Have you ever been in that spot, staring at your screen, and it's just a flood of alerts? You've got stuff coming in from GuardDuty, from Inspector, from Macie, maybe a dozen other tools, and you just feel completely buried. That feeling, that alert fatigue, it's a real problem, and it's exactly the problem Security Hub was built to solve. And that's where AWS Security Hub comes into the picture. The best way to think about it is as your central security command center. It's designed to be that single source of truth, turning all that noisy chaos from your alerts into real clarity and, most importantly, into prioritized action. Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with what Security Hub actually is, that command center idea. Then we'll get into its key benefits, how it pulls everything together through integrations, its pretty unique pricing model, and of course, we'll wrap up with the absolute essential takeaways for your exam. All right, first up, let's get a really clear exam-ready definition. What is AWS Security Hub really? So here's the key term you absolutely have to burn into your brain: Cloud Security Posture Management, or CSPM. That's what Security Hub is at its core. And what that means is it does way more than just collect logs. It is actively checking your setup against best practices, it's pulling in findings from all your other security tools, and it's helping you automate the fix. And look, you don't have to take my word for it. This quote from Tom Johnson over at ITV really hits the nail on the head. It's all about that centralized visibility. Instead of your team jumping between 10 different dashboards, they get what we call a single pane of glass. This makes them way more efficient and cuts down response times like you wouldn't believe. Okay, so we know what it is, but why should you, as a solutions architect, actually use it? Let's break down the key benefits and the real-world problems it solves. It really boils down to these 4 powerful actions. First, it unifies. It brings all those security signals into one place. Second, and this is so important, it prioritizes them. It uses built-in insights to help you figure out what's a real fire versus what's just low-level noise. Then it continuously monitors your whole setup. And finally, it lets you automate your responses. This is how you shift from being reactive to truly proactive with your security. So how does Security Hub actually do all of this? I mean, it sounds kind of like magic, right? Well, the secret isn't that it replaces all your other tools. The real magic is in its integrations. Now, this right here is a crucial architectural point, especially for the exam. Security Hub does not replace GuardDuty or Inspector. It's an aggregator. It's the central hub that pulls in threat findings, vulnerability data, and data security alerts, smushes them all into a standard format, and gives you one single place to see everything. And what's it checking your environment against? It's not just making things up. It uses these well-known industry-standard frameworks, like the CIS benchmark, PCI DSS, and NIST. This is how it automates your compliance checks. It just continuously scans your setup, which is a massive help when auditors come knocking. Ease of deployment is a huge deal for any architect, and Security Hub just makes it ridiculously simple. You can literally enable it for your entire organization with a single click in the console. There are no agents to install, no complex setups to worry about. You just turn it on and it starts working. It's that easy. Okay, let's talk about the thing every architect always has to consider: the cost. With all these integrations and checks running, you gotta know how the billing works. And Security Hub's pricing model is a little different, so it's really important to understand it. So in the past, you'd pay for each security service a la carte, a bit for this, a bit for that. Now, with Security Hub's unified pricing, you get a single consolidated charge per resource that bundles a lot of that cost together. For anyone managing a budget, that predictability is a massive win. And what's really awesome about this Essentials plan is just how much is baked in. I mean, look at this. You get your core CSPM checks, obviously, but you also get vulnerability scanning for EC2, for your containers and ECR, and even for your Lambda functions, all powered by Amazon Inspector, all included in that single price. It just makes billing so much simpler. So how is this all calculated? It's based on a concept they call resource units. The easiest way to think about it is like a normalized unit of cost. AWS just uses a single EC2 instance as the baseline for one unit, and then all your other resources are calculated as a fraction of that. For instance, here's a concrete example to make it stick. You can monitor 18, that's 1/8, ECR container images for a whole month for the exact same price as monitoring one single EC2 instance for a month. It's a really clever way to standardize the cost across all these different services. And of course, like most AWS services, there's a 30-day free trial, so you can kick the tires and see exactly what your usage is going to look like. But let me give you the golden rule for any architect. Always, and I mean always, use the AWS cost estimator before you deploy anything in production to get a real cost projection. No surprises. All right, we've covered a ton of ground. Let's boil it all down. If you're cramming for the exam and you only remember one thing from our time together, please make it what's on this next slide. Here it is, your exam cram sheet. Let's do a rapid-fire review. Primary function, it's a CSPM service. Core value, it gives you that single pane of glass. Key action, it aggregates, normalizes, and prioritizes findings. Compliance, it automates checks against standards like CIS and PCI. Pricing, it's a consolidated per-resource model. And automation, it enables automated fixes through its integration with Amazon EventBridge. If you can nail those 6 points, you're in fantastic shape for the exam. And that's really it. The ultimate benefit of Security Hub is that it lets your team stop just fighting fires all day and start focusing on more strategic, high-value security work. So the real question is, once your findings are unified, what will you focus on next? Thanks for joining.